What's going on, guys? This is Mr. Black Magic of the DRM Gamecast, and this is my review for Overcooked on Xbox One. Releases this week. And this is an insane co-op cooking game. You can play it solo, you can play it with up to 3 friends. And I absolutely loved every minute of it. It's a really fun game. But just to give you an idea of the story, it's really crazy. It's a big creature called the Beast, which is essentially a big meatball with spaghetti noodles for his body and arms, and he's trying to destroy the world. It's an apocalypse kind of event, and you're working with the Onion King to try and basically defeat the Beast by feeding him meals as fast as possible. But when you start off, you're not very good, so you can't do it. And so the Onion King sends you back into time to basically practice on your skills, practice on your cooperation with your other chef. And so throughout the game, you're going through 30 different levels, and it's all essentially in preparation of fighting the Beast in the future. So he sends you, 20 years back into the past, and you're basically preparing to fight him again. So there's 30 different levels in the game, 14 different chefs to choose from, and like I said, the game it's 1 to 4 player co-op, so you can play it by yourself, or you can play with up to 3 people. But no matter which way you play it, you can clearly tell that the game is made for co-op. So primarily I played it through myself. I did try it in co-op, but primarily I played through the whole game by myself. And so when you're playing in co-op, or when you're playing solo, you always have 2 chefs. So it doesn't matter if you're playing with 1 player, 2 player, you always have 2 chefs. Now when you're playing by yourself, the way it works is you can switch back and forth between the chefs. So for example, if you start an action like cutting up a tomato, you put it on the cutting board and press X to start the action, and then a bar will fill up. And so he'll be done cutting it once that bar is filled. But while he's in that animation, you can switch with the bumpers to the other chef and start something else. Start preparing your next meal, or start preparing your next ingredient, or whatever you have to do. So it's really easy right off the bat to see that it's kind of made for 2 players at minimum, because it feels awkward at the beginning. I got used to it. I really enjoyed the game. It wasn't a big deal, but you can clearly tell that it was made for co-op. And the way the levels are designed as well, a lot of the levels are split up where one person is on the top and one person is on the bottom, or one person is on the left and on the right, and you have like a middle divider where you can share ingredients. So, but the way the game works is you have these orders that come in, and generally there's one meal or one type of dish that you'll work with for that level. So a lot of levels work with soup, and the soup, for instance, consists of tomatoes. It'll either be 3 tomatoes for tomato soup, 3 onions for onion soup, and 3 mushrooms for mushroom soup. So you'll just get random orders, and it'll say, okay, tomato, and so now you need to make the tomato soup and then serve it. And then the next order will come in, it'll be mushroom soup. So you need to make the mushroom soup and then serve it. And then once you get it, so it's pretty easy at the beginning, but it gets really, really complex. And that's based on the nature of the game and co-op. It's based on the levels. The levels, they get really tricky on you because they start to move around. There's a lot of moving pieces. You have to really work in tandem with your other chef. So for instance, say you're making a burger, and your 2 chefs are split top and bottom. Well, maybe the buns are only on the top and the patties are only on the bottom. So you have to work together and share the ingredients and kind of pass them back and forth to get a complete meal. And that's what I mean by it's really co-op focused. Because obviously if you're playing with 2 people, then you can both be doing things at the same time. Whereas if you're playing in solo, a lot of the times one guy is just standing there while the other guy is, you're running around doing something else with the other one. Or you start an action with one, and then you switch to the other one and do something else. But I got used to it. But I think this is almost one of those games where it deserves 2 different scores, one for solo and one for co-op. because it really feels different when you're playing in co-op compared to when you're playing by yourself. But in terms of the gameplay, though, I thought the game relied a little too much on the soup. It might sound weird, but there's about 7 or so different meals that you can make throughout the levels. So it's like soup, burgers, pizza, fish and chips, burritos, salad, and a good majority, there's 30 levels total, and a good amount of those levels are all soup, which seems really weird because they have these other ingredients that, in each ingredient, each meal is different the way you cook it. So like soup, you put all the ingredients in a pot, whereas pizza, you combine all the ingredients and put them in an oven, or fish and chips, you put them in a fryer, or burgers, you fry the patties. Burrito, you put the rice in a pot to make the rice, and then you cook the meat. So it makes it interesting when it's a different type of food all the time, because it's a different type of preparation for each food. And so it's kind of disappointing that a lot of the levels use soup. And again, I want to mention that the co-op aspect, it's a local only co-op, so it doesn't have online co-op, which was also really disappointing because for a co-op focused game, in 2016 to release on consoles and not support online co-op, it's just really disappointing, because not a lot of people have someone there to play local with them. A lot of people are used to Xbox Live and PSN friends playing with them over the internet. So, unfortunately, I got the chance to play in co-op. It's really amazing. If you get a chance to check that out, play the game in co-op, I'd recommend doing that because it's a lot more fun. And in terms of replayability, the game has a star system for each level. So it's based on speed, it's based on number of orders filled. So when you get an order in, it has like a timer on it. So the faster you serve that order, the more points you'll get. You get a tip. So the faster you serve it, the higher your tip is for that order. I think it's like 10 points for the order, and then up to 5 or so for the tip, depending on how fast you serve it. And then you'll get subtracted points if you fail to serve it at all, like if the timer just runs out and you didn't serve that order, or if you serve an order that wasn't listed. So, say you serve tomato soup, but you didn't even have an order for tomato soup. So you'll get negative points for that. So there's 3 stars in total, 30 levels, so 90 stars total. And then there's also a versus mode, which when you're playing through the game, you'll start to unlock these versus maps where you can play 1-on-1, 2-on-2, same thing, up to 4 players, play against other people locally. So in overall, I had a really fun time with the game. I'd say for a review, for a score, I'd give it around an 8 for if you're playing it solo. Probably bump that to a 9 if you're playing in co-op. Because the game really is different when you're playing it in co-op. It's a completely different game. The way the levels are designed, the way the gameplay is designed, I just think it's more fun in co-op because it's clearly built for that. But that's not to say it isn't enjoyable by yourself. I enjoyed the game a tremendous amount by myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more reviews in the future, some gameplay. And I hope this review helped you out. Thanks for watching.